She described the experience with customer support as the best customer service she'd ever had. That should have been a huge red flag right there. Nobody will help you more than somebody who's trying to help take your money.
Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. Protect your patients. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right.
So, you know, Donna, we have not enough to keep up with.
No.
So, and we're going to throw this one out there for everybody. If you're not keeping up with these cyber laws, not just federal, but state, there are a lot of things happening. So we're going to talk about some of those laws that are out there. Some of them are new. So you might want to listen up, see if your state's mentioned on those. But we have got a lot going on. As always, lots of news to report on. And some of it you might have heard of. Most of it you probably haven't. But we're always going to give you our opinions, whether you like them or not.
Well, we went into that whole discussion about Oklahoma, and there's a lot others going on, and there's all these nuances. And then there's some bills in the Senate and the House that maybe they're listening to HSCC. So I'm going to be watching them and wanted to let everybody else, watch them too if you want to. Don't know how you feel about that. But before we do that, we got some fun little stories to share about learning from, one's a, hey, wow, that's wicked what they've started doing. And the others learn from what happened to somebody else.
Yeah, that's the best way to learn. Although for some reason it just doesn't stick for some reason. I don't know why.
I know. It doesn't stay very long. It'll have like an immediate impact, but if you haven't felt it yourself, maybe that's it.
Yeah. Experience is the best teacher. And unfortunately, no matter how many times we try to keep people away from the pain. So anyway, we'll dive into all that. And I will say that we're recording just after the 4th. So I'm waiting to hear who got hacked over the weekend.
No, I'm just glad I didn't hear from any of our clients all weekend long. It's always like you're aware. You see it's happening. You know it's happening.
Yeah, I know. I was keeping a close eye on all the security chatter coming into our systems just to make sure nothing was showing. So I think we're good. Yeah.
Now we've overspoken. That just thanks,
knock on wood.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So let's talk about cleaning up those password pictures. You found something, and this is kind of crazy, but there's spyware that is stealing the photos from your iPhone and Android, and
then they're able to use AI to review the photos and pull text out of it, like your passwords and pictures of the configuration of your firewall. I mean, we've done it ourselves. We know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we do it all the time.
Screenshot. You just need to go delete all the screenshots. Just do that. If there is anything impotent on it, delete them.
Yeah. Oh man. When this first came out, because this came out 24th of June, about the same week, we had somebody reach out from, it was a client's referral. And the guy's like, I just had my picture stolen off my iPhone. Right. So I'm reading this article and I'm like, oh no, you're a victim of this. Well, long story short, the photos were not stolen from his iPhone or his Android, but they were stolen from his Microsoft account.
Oh,
and so,
ow.
So after he sent us on a wild goose chase, because, hey, if you tell us it happened in your Apple account, where do you think we're going to be looking?
Yes.
I mean,
where you said.
Yeah, you said it was here, But anyway, So this is crazy that that this is happening, and people definitely need to take note and clean up your stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about what else might be in there. Neither one of us want to go down that path, but
Yeah,
people.
it's always like you like. I'm not sure. Is that a hemorrhoid? Let me take a picture.
Uh, and it's like you get a picture, and even if you like realize right away that does, you've got to delete it a lot of places, like
I
instantaneously.
know because
That's going to the
it's
cloud.
backing up
Boom.
everywhere. It does. How many times have you sit there and was like, okay, if I delete it from my device, is it still in the cloud? And if I delete
Yeah.
it from the cloud, is it still in my device? Like, are they independent? Are they syncing? Are they only syncing when I have something? I mean, it's like, it's a constant battle to figure out where's this stuff going and does it stay there?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go delete it everywhere I can think of trying to delete it. If I ever get something that I'm like, there shouldn't be a picture of that. And now I'm going to be even more paranoid, because people send me like social security numbers and bank accounts. And I'm like, no, just no.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like, I got an Android device, so I take a picture, it goes to, Google Photos thing, but it kind of depends on where it is in the device because it doesn't send all pictures there. Some pictures it'll try to send to my Samsung account, and other pictures it'll try to send to my Verizon account. It's like,
Oh,
no,
that's just because it's you.
is that what it is? It's like there's all these things trying to sync my data, and I'm like, no, stop.
I don't want that going there. Please make it stop over and over and over. It's the way it works.
Yeah. Well,
So,
speaking of please making it stop.
oh, yes. Moving right along.
Yeah. So you found this article here, New Orleans, or do you say Nolans?
Nolan. I used to work with people that grew up in New Orleans and worked in the restaurants there. And I learned to say everything wrong to everybody unless you're talking to somebody from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So restaurant owner in Nolans got scammed. So you want to tell the story because it's common.
Yeah, it's but this one is particularly bad.
It is bad because
Yeah, when I
a
had to
trusted
read it.
friend.
Yeah, because a friend tried to help. But I had you reading it, and you're like, yeah, this isn't. Which I kept saying, just wait.
Wait
Keep
for
going.
it. Wait
for
it.
Wait. Just keep going. There's a reason I've brought this one up, and it's twofold. Don't help people if you don't know what you're doing is a big thing.
And don't seek help. And don't seek help from people that don't know what they're doing.
Right. When you're in trouble like this, you don't want just anybody, unless Anyway, so this woman owns a restaurant. It looks like a pretty cool restaurant. Like if I'm ever near there and she's still open, I want to go to that restaurant because David saw on. Well, you get the joy of sharing what was in the picture. It was really cool.
Yeah, the sign on the bathroom door said "Turlet."
Turlet. And that sounds like something we would say. But so it's a really cool place. And so she was like really busy trying to put together like a charity event or fundraising event for something and had a lot going on, as one does. When you run a business, you always do. And then you're publicizing to your 4,000 Facebook followers and Instagram followers that, hey, we're doing a charitable event. Come see us. It's going to be huge. So then I'm also telling the criminals, I'm a little harried and not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of that, she gets a message from quote unquote Facebook support.
Oh, yeah.
Telling her that she needs to change her password, that there's a major problem. And And even in the article, it called it a knee-jerk reaction because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not making a point of planning to change a password, you should halt. Period. Like, I know I need to change a password, or it's prompting me soon to change it. I'm going to go to that app, because it's ones I expect. But if I get a message telling me to change something because there's a problem, I'm going to go research the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Because it may very well be happening, but if it's happening, doing it now versus doing it 30 minutes from now after I've looked into it, or an hour from now after I've looked into it, it's not going to make a huge bit of difference, right?
Mm-mm.
If it's
Nope.
for real. If it's not for real, it'll make a massive amount of difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, she gave up her password, did all the stuff, didn't give all the details, whether there was MFA or whatever, but needless to say, she fell for it, because you will not get you won't get a message from Facebook support telling you that your account is compromised and click this link, because that scam is used so much. There's no reason they should be doing it, and if they are, that's a big problem for them. Or I have a problem with that anyway. But so she then, what was it, like an hour later, her phone is just lighting up. She's just getting hit. Bing, 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 bing. People wanting to buy stuff from all over the world, and stuff she's not selling.
Right. Yeah. And she couldn't get back into her account. So she locked out.
Yeah, she sees that somebody's like put all this there. She tries to get back in, and her account no longer has the password for it. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So then she reaches out to Facebook, and all they could do was shut down those accounts. That's it. That's all they would do. They just turned them off.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the middle of her already being busy, now this has happened. And the way that she would communicate, it's gone. And this is at the point where she learns you don't actually ever get anything from Facebook support. If you can't read it online or get it from a chatbot, you're not going to get things from them, which she got none. No help, which only made her more frustrated. And so now she can't communicate with all the people, her 4,000 followers, about the charity thing. She has to start a new account. She has to build all that back up. She's really stressed out about it. And a few days later, she gets a call from a friend of hers who, trying to help her out, has gotten a Facebook representative on the phone and does a 3-way call with the Facebook. How long was it? She said 4 hours on the phone, running around doing errands.
4.5 hours on the phone while she was driving around running errands for both the business, and she's also a mother of 3.
Yeah. So
lots of distractions.
Lots of distractions, as you well know. So, I mean, but her friend said this. Her friend found a way after going through Facebook help, supposedly, and they managed to get this person on the phone.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
But wait.
We can't leave this out.
No.
Because we always talk about the red flags. Yeah. This should have been the biggest red flag ever. She says she described the experience with customer support as the best customer service she'd ever had. That should have been a huge red flag right there. Nobody will help you more than somebody who's trying to help take your money. I mean, this is not the first time I've actually heard people say this, that these scammers are super helpful. Customer service out the, I mean, they're just great.
Yeah.
Of course. But anyway, Yeah, that should have been a red flag.
Yeah.
Because
So, yeah.
then she realized that she got scammed again.
Yeah. So take it from here, because none of this makes sense, and you've got plenty to share. Getting out the soapbox, have at it, because when this hit,
Yeah, well, she ended up getting defrauded for $10,000 from her mother's bank account. So she's probably been disowned. And the friend probably got disowned too.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's another guy in the article, and I want to bring this guy up. So his name's Daniel. He says that he tries to avoid using language like, quote unquote, falling for it, because she says something about she felt bad for falling for it. And then the article says, while it's important for small business owners to protect themselves in the same way that they should lock their doors when closing, the scale of the problem is so large and lopsided against mom and pops, it's unfair to put the blame on them. Now, I fully disagree with that entire comment, because that makes it sound like mom and pop business owners, to which you and I both are mom and pop business owners.
I'm mom, you're
It's
pop.
like, there you go. That's a good way to put it. It's like saying, look, there's really nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do because you're a small business. That is not true. Even that's what this statement sounds like.
Yes.
Like, don't blame yourself. There's nothing you could have done because the odds are so stacked against you. That is so untrue. I'm going to put my soapbox down and stand on it, because had this person or anybody, and I'm not picking on her, because it happens to lots of other people all the time. You're busy. You get something like this come in. We talk about it all the time, where it hits some type of emotional trigger. You click on it, you follow the directions, you do whatever. In this case, she got scammed because basically the scam came in through a friend the second time. You know, it's coming in from a trusted referral source, you know, and, you know, whether she did have MFA or didn't have MFA, we don't know, but we are constantly talking about these are the things you need to do to make sure you don't become victim of cybercrime. You can't sit there and say there's nothing you could have done. You're just mom and pop and everything's stacked against you. That is not helpful.
No, because that's kind of, you know, it's as if we're saying, you know, you're not responsible for paying your taxes because it's all stacked against you. You're not responsible for, you know, taking care of inventory because it's all stacked against you. It's always stacked against you when you're in a small business.
It is. And, you know, in the article, there's another guy, Adam McCloskey of the Louisiana Small Business Development Center at Louisiana State University. I'll call him out because I like what he said.
Yeah.
He says, small businesses are the perfect target for bad, malicious cyber actors because they generally have worse security. Cyber attacks are one of the top threats for small businesses, or that they face. Okay, if it's one of the top threats that you face, don't then also say, but I'm sorry, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. That is not, that is, you know.
Bless
it's
your
like,
thieving heart.
We're going to run our business on hopium. We're just going to hope, we're going to hope none of this ever happens to us because there ain't nothing we can do about it. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox. It just rubbed me the wrong way that it's like all the things we do every single Friday is talk about these are the things that we can do that you can help protect yourself in your small business, in your small practice. Do these things to protect yourself. And then you got somebody out there who's like, but the problem's so large, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is it we think? Basic cyber security hygiene. That's it. Basic cyber hygiene. Get yourself educated so that you know that that's what these criminals are trying to do, so that you recognize the red flags. Make sure that you have all of your accounts secured properly with multi-factor authentication, and you never, ever, ever, you know, click a link or give that multi-factor authentication out unless you have proactively gone to the website where not from a link, any of those things. But these are basic education. That's it. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
that's just educating yourself. That's it.
and gone are the days that you didn't have to worry about cybersecurity. Now it's one of the core components, or should be core components of your business. Like you should know operations, you should know finance, you should know sales and marketing, and you should know cybersecurity. You don't have to know how to do it. Just like I don't know how to do all my own bookkeeping and taxes and all that. Like I don't need to know how to do it. That's why I pay somebody to do it. Like you just need to know what's required of you and the basics. Like I basically know, for example, I need to keep my receipts, and I know that I need to book things a certain way for my bookkeeper or my accountant. I know the bare minimum in order to keep myself safe from having the IRS come in and do whatever they're going to do. And as a business owner, you need to know the bare minimum to keep yourself safe with cybersecurity practices, and then outsource the rest of it if you have to.
Well, it even goes further than that. Is if you're not keeping track of your money, you're likely not going to make money.
Right.
Right? So it has nothing to do with any regulations or anything. If you're not keeping track of the money you bring in and the money that goes out, you either have so much money it doesn't matter and you're not a small business, or you're not making money and you're probably going to go out of business. Right?
Yeah.
So if I don't keep track of the information that my finances, but I'm putting my finances into the computer and I'm not keeping track of securing all of those things that my business requires electronically to operate. So marketing is a huge piece, and social media is how we do that. Right?
Yep.
So educate yourself. That's it. That's really the only thing that she needed to do and her friend needed to do, is be educated to not fall for these things. You know, it's like we've got family that's so well trained. I'll get a call from my aunt, and all you can hear in the background is her computer saying, "You have been infected. You have been infected." She's like, "I can't make it go away, but I know I'm not supposed to do that."
Yeah. I had my mom call me a few weeks ago, and she did the same thing. She's like, "You hear my computer is talking?" And I was like, what do you see on the screen? And it's like, it's telling me to call Microsoft support. And I was like, "Mom, do you use Microsoft? Are you on Windows?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "Oh yeah, I got it now."
Yeah, that was her. She had like a Mac, and it was telling her to call Microsoft support. But having the knowledge to not take the action. That's it. That's really all you need. And then add to that the basic concepts of password, and now we're getting pass keys really in place, but securing things properly, so that I really hope that the way the $10,000 got whacked is not because she used the same password for everything, including the access she has to her mother's account. I'm going to hope that's not it. However, the important thing.
I really thought the story was going to have her run around buying a bunch of gift cards, but it didn't.
No. And elderly people are the ones where it makes me so angry, because many of them have dementia. I know I've mentioned that many times. It's, anyway, here's the important thing though. When it comes to small business, the good news is we covered a few weeks ago what Oklahoma was doing and adding this. And I was like, I know some other states are doing it, but so I went out and checked, because not only has Oklahoma done it, but Texas has now added one new one. And Texas has added some really very specific things. So went through to see, kind of compare them, so that if your state is involved, you could be aware of this. But I think it's important that we're all aware of it long term, because they all have similar scenarios, right? So In Ohio, that's like the first one from 2018. And by the way, all of them have language of some level that says if you're covered by HIPAA, this law doesn't apply to you. You are assumed that HIPAA is taking care of this.
That is a terrible assumption, I think.
I know, right? It's assumed you're going to fall under HIPAA. I think that they're making an incorrect assumption. However, HIPAA has language in it that says, if there's a conflict between state and this law takes precedence. So it's not worth getting into that at this point.
Yeah.
But this is why we need a federal version of it. But this is why letting the states take care of it creates madness for anybody that does business in more than one state. So,
right. And I'm glad you just brought that up, because we're not talking about laws in the state where you do business, like your home state or whatever. We're talking about the laws of the state of where the data or the residents are, the people are of data that you own. So you could, like for me, I'm in South Carolina, North Carolina. I've got clients in 15, 20 different states. That's 15 or 20 different state laws I have to keep up with.
Yeah. And, it is not back to, as a small business owner, you're obligated to be aware that these things are happening. So in Ohio,
it's just too big. I just can't do it. It's too overwhelming.
You should not be blamed. It's stacked against you.
That's what I'm going to tell when they come for me. It was stacked against me, Your Honor. I couldn't do it.
Let's show you what's stacked. All right. So businesses that handle personal information of Ohio residents. So if you operate in multiple states, so like David does, but he doesn't handle Ohio, the resident information. If he had a client in Ohio, he would be handling the client's information. They could be obligated, but not him. So what it's saying is if you have a written cybersecurity program that aligns with the framework, an industry recognized framework, and they bring out NIST CSF, the ISO standards, the SIS controls, the ones that are fairly straightforward, then it helps you have an affirmative defense against negligence claims after a data breach. Okay, that's what everybody would be looking for as a small business, especially. But it doesn't necessarily pluck out different sizes of businesses. So in Utah, they have one where it's any business in Utah. And if you have a written cybersecurity program that is aligned with NIST, SIS, some kind of recognized framework, there are 3 affirmative defenses that you get: failure to implement, failure to respond, failure to notify. So you can say, look, I did everything else. And only, you can't get okay, so if there was a regulatory problem, do I get a pass? No, not necessarily. Connecticut has one, and it's an act incentivizing the adoption of cybersecurity standards. And it actually says that HIPAA is considered a sector-specific standard, and you get protection from punitive damages in lawsuits, and they are explicitly included as compliant if they're following the federal law from HIPAA. So you want to believe you better be able to prove it, though. On all of these, if you can't prove it, it didn't happen. Oklahoma, we saw that. Same thing, except HIPAA entities are excluded. Florida has one. If you're a for-profit business, it's the Cybersecurity Liability Protection Act. Includes all of those and gives you the affirmative defense against claims for failure to protect. HIPAA, of course, is excluded as well. The for-profit businesses in Iowa, if they have 100,000 plus Iowa residents data.
Oh, wow.
So if you have one person, you have 9,999, still doesn't apply. But it says that in that law, you have to maintain reasonable administrative, technical, and physical security safeguards. It doesn't mention, it's really a lot more flexible. It's just become effective July 2025. It's not one that's gives you specific affirmative defense, but it's a little trickier on the liability considerations and that kind of stuff. But it does say you must maintain these safeguards. Now, Texas, of course, is going to do something way on out there. Theirs is, it applies to businesses processing personal data of greater than 100,000 Texans annually, or 25,000 plus consumers and derive 25% of revenue from selling personal data. I mean, it gets really complicated, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm trying to pull all this information together, so don't trust this. This is, as we say, not legal advice. You need to go read this stuff yourself. I'm probably wrong on some of it, okay? Because I dumped a whole bunch of information and said, here, organize this for me, ChatGPT. So I had all the bullets. Here you go. But in order to get the safe harbor in the Texas thing, you have to have a cybersecurity program that's tailored to your organizational size. And has to meet this threshold. You have to have less than 250 employees. So this specifically protects small business. And I mean small business because, more than 250 employees can still be considered a small business. So we're talking people like us. Less than 100,000 consumer data and less than 50% revenue. So if you're not one of those big data brokers, you're not these things, is what it really is. The opposite is, it's who's not covered are the big ones, and who's covered is the little ones. So, and it's all complicated. But the bottom line is, this is about small business. It specifically calls out less than 250 employees. And you need to use a framework like NIST, ISO, CIS, something like that. And it has one set of requirements for using the framework for less than 250. But if you're less than 100, you have some different requirements. And if you're less than 20, you have even fewer requirements that will let you be exempt from punitive damages. And it says HIPAA covered entities are excluded from the law. So with all of those, the thing that we have to look at, though, is what about business associates? Because some of the language in some of the states specifically says a business associate. In others, it says a covered entity. And then in others, it says entities covered by HIPAA. And then the question is, what if I have a business like yours where you have some healthcare, some not healthcare? So part of your business, but so if you had a data breach that only impacted your not healthcare, HIPAA wouldn't apply at all. All right. So,
yeah.
So what you want to do is find out what's happening in your state. Because this is another reason to have a written information security program, or as the FTC calls it, a WISP.
Yeah.
Which you just met with, was it accountants discussing this, right?
Yep. I did.
And how'd that go, David? Did they understand a
WISP?
WISP?
Well. Much like healthcare, they know they're supposed to be doing things, and they're not all doing them. So, yeah, healthcare doesn't have the,
They don't have the corner on that market. Is that what you're saying?
They don't. No, they don't. It's just, I was talking to you before we started recording on this. It's like, I want to, every time I go back to speak, it's like I want to move up to the next level. And, you know, I want to graduate them, and I keep having to go back and like, all right, let's do some remedial training. Like, we're not ready to move on past kindergarten yet. We still haven't really nailed down this whole password thing.
Nope.
And it's not everybody. It's, you know, and that's kind of the tough part is you got some folks that are like, they got it. They're doing it. And then you got other folks in the room. It's like, we've been having the same conversation about the same basic cyber hygiene for years. You haven't done this part yet. This is, you know, same conversation we have about all cybersecurity stuff. We can't make it more complex, even though the problems become more complex, because we can't get you to do what you should have been doing 5 years ago. Okay, another soapbox. I'm off of it. See, quit doing that to me, Donna.
Look, I knew you needed to get it off your chest.
But, you know, and I'm a problem solver, so it's always like, okay, you're not doing it, and I don't believe you're trying to be like maliciously not doing it or, you know, willful neglect. So what is it? Like, what's the problem? Let's solve the problem. And I've not yet found the problem. It's just all over the place. Some people are like, well, I didn't know it was that big of a deal. And other people are like, well, I can't afford it. And other people are like, the odds are stacked against us. We just can't.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just, you know, another day of trying to understand what is it that we're not doing. I mean, it's like, just educate yourself. Start with that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the fortunate thing was when you're talking to a group of people that are in the same industry is you can use some, you know, industry language that they get.
Yeah.
And, you know, I go in there like, look, I didn't start a business because I wanted to do accounting and bookkeeping. Like, I hate this stuff. I don't want to do any of it. Just like you didn't start a business to do cybersecurity, and you likely hate this stuff, but it's still necessary. Just like it's still necessary for me to do bookkeeping and accounting. Now, I can completely ignore it, and I might get away with it for a long period of time. But at some point, reality will come crashing down on my head.
Mm-hmm. It will be.
And it's very much the same.
And then you tell a room full of accountants that you couldn't afford having an accountant, and they won't care.
No. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not going to help you much. So, and it's the same way that we talk to healthcare. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to get you to be the pinnacle of security. It's just not going to happen. I'm just trying to get you out of the willful neglect stage, and let's get you somewhere that looks like it's, you know, reasonable and appropriate.
Yeah. Well, and I thought that was really interesting about how the Texas law did drill it down, you know, less than 20 to 100, and then 100 to 250. And 20 to 100, though, they expect, you know, a certain level, and 100 to 250, they want you to meet the frameworks or at least show something like that. And for me, I know that if there was a scenario where if the state had that kind of language, it would certainly be worth pointing to, did I at least meet that state level? You know, in what I was doing. So no, that law doesn't apply to me, but I'm doing those things. So I'm going to use that as a part of the discussion somewhere in any way I can in the legal case to show that it's reasonable under certain standards, and so that's the big thing is. But you know, again, the vast majority, which while we were getting ready to record, we saw that there was another OCR settlement that we haven't read yet, but we did see it was a risk analysis one, so we'll be covering that next week. And here it is, still a problem of doing a proper risk analysis. So, which brings us to the healthcare thing. And so I'm doing a webinar for Orthopedic Executives Group tomorrow, and I was updating slide deck, and I was trying to put in all the updated legal information since I originally created it in March, and now we're doing it later. And in doing so, found that there's duplicate bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, exact same language that can go through from either direction, which is great. But when you read it, it's almost like they may have read the HSCC proposal and started creating the framework for us to do a collaborative HIPAA security rule. And so I got real excited. Now, granted, who knows if anything will ever go through anywhere. But it's HR 3841, and then Senate bill is 1851. And it's the Healthcare Cybersecurity Act of 2025. And it's really interesting that how well it aligns with what HSCC is already doing. They want to establish a collaboration between HHS and CISA and joint assessment, training programs, strategy development. Well, there's been many discussions. And one of the things I believe in the testimony in Congress, Eric brought up, you could tell us information sooner and we could be more prepared. But by the time it's filtering down to us, we don't have time to be prepared every case. So that would immediately do that, because CISA doesn't necessarily coordinate there's no mechanism for them to coordinate. And, if you look at what, HSCC has said, work with us. And we've already created, the 405D program, the implementation guides. So, this is saying they want them to work together on an assessment and training programs and strategy development. So it's the framework to bring us in. We've got that. We know. We've got the beginnings of all of those things. So why not bring us in? And then a risk-based, scalable cybersecurity for small and medium providers directs creation of training and educational resources tailored to them. I mean, what do we always say? We focus on the small and medium, and we're very much a part of that. Mm-hmm. And, a small clinic shouldn't have to have the same cybersecurity as a, multi-billion-dollar healthcare organization, big health system. So we have scalable things. We've put those things together. We have those things. We have the basis to build that already in place. Improved threat sharing. We talked about that with the HHS CISA thing. And we already, HISAC is what helps manage, helps pay for the HSCC work. So they're better, they're built to do this. So yeah, look, we've got that there too. And then vulnerability reporting and sector-wide assessments. Guess what? Mm-hmm. We're doing that. And look at all the things, we've got all of the different HIC tickers and so many things that are already there. So if this was written kind of saying, look, this is what we would have to put into law to be able to do the collaboration stuff. Maybe. I don't know. It felt good to read, to think that maybe it is. So we're going to keep an eye on that, definitely, because, it's kind of like when the Recognized Security Practices Amendment went through finally. It was like at the last minute, but it was great. And while no, this is probably not the be-all, end-all and the exact language we need, it's got enough to open that door. At least that's my belief, and that's just one woman's opinion. We know about that. So, yeah.
At least the conversation's still going.
Well, it opened a door for the conversation that was started with the HSCC collaboration on a HIPAA security rule proposal. Yep. So
Yeah, which I'm still seeing people talk about the new HIPAA security rule.
I know you can't get them.
And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah. Oh, this is they're going to come out. No, that was DOA, man.
Yeah.
That was never going to.
Yeah.
Now, I thought maybe some of the concepts could filter in, and they may, but that thing was all over the place and written by lawyers and had very little, just know that, yeah, that thing's already just flames somewhere.
Yeah.
Pieces of it, maybe, but that's not happening. I'm just saying, that's not happening. I think that we'll get a we withdraw kind of statement. So, anyhow.
Yep.
That's just one woman's opinion.
It was just too much.
Stacked against us.
It just stacked
It was stacked against us. I mean,
oh boy.
Yes, a lot of that stuff needs to be done, but the approaches of the level that it went, the more you read it, the more we read it, the more it was like, wait a minute, you're saying actually? Whoa.
Yeah.
We can do an initial review, but when you get into reading it, it was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people run around. If you're a small provider, you're going to have to do, 2 different pen tests every year and all this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all.
And what are they selling, by the way? Pen test?
Pen test. Or they're just marketing people. Those are even better.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was at a conference recently and a marketing person, they do marketing for MSPs, but they were talking about HIPAA and FTC safeguards, and they were just butchering some of it. And I was like, oh, geez.
Well, what can you do? I mean, yeah. But, I mean, my presentation that I'm doing tomorrow is about how to use hiccups and CPGs to prepare for the coming changes. Because we know they need to change. And here's all the reasons, and I take them through all the reasons that what we're doing isn't working. And, that's the definition of insanity. Continue doing the same thing, expecting different results. We're not getting the results. So all of the optional stuff can't continue to be optional. There's got to be better specifics that are in there. So anyhow, but that's my whole point is change has to come because what you're doing isn't working. Now, let's look at what you can do now to prepare for whatever those official changes end up being.
Yep. That's what you're doing. You're trying to stack the odds in your favor.
That's right. Way to bring it around, David. Way to bring it around.
All right, folks, that is our show for today. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this out to somebody who needs something to laugh at and think about. Always remember for Donna and myself that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.